Improvising is just composing in real time, and composing is just improvising with a pause button. Hey there, and welcome back to another video. In my never-ending quest of teaching you about improvisation, today I'm going to talk about something that I think we should do more when we're learning to improvise. Sure, it's great to transcribe, it's great to learn licks, it's great to do all this stuff, but I think composing is a really important skill to have when learning to improvise. Now, you might be saying, I'm not just going to write out my solos. Didn't you say playing written solos is bad? Yes, that's not what I'm talking about here. But what I'm talking about is using the concept of improvisation, like I said in the very beginning, which is composing, but just in real time. You're creating something new. Just like when you compose a new song, you're taking all the elements of things that you've heard in the past, reference audios, things you like, things you don't like, and applying them to a specific set of parameters. Like I'm going to write blues, I'm going to write a rock song, and then you use elements of that style to infer and give you information about, your composition. Same thing when you're improvising. The only difference is when you compose, you actually have a pause button. You can sit there and say, does this work? Does this not work? Let me stop. Let me think about it. When you actually improvise, you're doing it in real time, but composition plays a big factor, and here's how you can actually do it. The first thing is to think about what improvisation really is. I know I said it's composing real time, but what are we composing? And the answer is melodies. Improvising isn't just saying, well, here's a D7, so I'm going to play up and down the chord tones, and I'm going to play up and down a mixolydian scale, and here's a major scale. And yes, you can use those elements to create melodies, but the goal when improvising is to create new melodies or compose new melodies on the spot. Just for this video, I created a comprehensive worksheet that you'll get completely free. The only thing you need to do is go to davepollack.com/pause button. And I'll also put that link at the top of the description down below and in the pinned comment. In a minute, I'm going to be actually diving into that worksheet here on the video, but I want you to have it for yourself so you can really see what I'm going through in detail. And I also left some space, which I'll show you in a minute, where you can write out your own melodies and practice this as well. Now, without any further ado, I'm going to jump inside of the worksheet and show you what this is all about. All right, as you see, I'm here inside of the first worksheet. There are two different worksheets here. One is called Summertime Melody. One is called Summertime Composition. This is just Summertime Melody. First off, I'm going to be using C instruments throughout here because I don't know what instrument you're playing specifically, so I'm just going to talk in concert pitch, but know that all of these PDF worksheets are available in concert pitch treble, concert pitch bass clef, also B flat and E flat, so make sure you're looking at the right key for you. Secondly, I'm going to be using the jazz standard Summertime. Do you have to do it on Summertime? Absolutely not. If you're working on Summertime, great. But this process that I'm going to show you in this video, you can use over any song you want, and I highly recommend doing it over multiple songs, whatever you're working on. If you want to get better at improvising, this process will work great for you no matter what song it is. So first, I wanted to include the original melody for you because we're going to be basing things off of that. So I just wanted to go over that first. This is roughly what the original melody is. Some people change it up, you can embellish it, whatever. But I'm just going to play this melody now so you understand the melody if you've never heard it before, or just a refresher so you get the sound of Summertime in concert G minor in your ears. And then we're going to go on to the next step. Check it out. All right, so once we have the original song that we're going to start improvising over, what do I mean when I talk about using a pause button and when you're improvising? Well, the next sheet is called Summertime Composition. Basically, the idea here, there's two steps to it. The first thing is you're going to actually write out your own new melody over the chord changes to Summertime in this case. Some people call this a contrafact, like Donna Lee over Back Home in Indiana, things like that. I included on the second page here your melody. So I'll get back to that in 1 second. And if you go to the third page, here are some key centers and some chord tones. So you can reference this down here back up to the chord changes of Summertime. If this is way beyond you, I have a lot of other videos in the improvisation playlist in the description down below about much simpler topics of how to construct triads and how to use scales and how to use key centers and stuff. This video is kind of putting that together if you're ready to actually improvise. When you play through this, I included right here all of the chord tones for every single chord in order of how it appears in the song. And then here, these key centers are not perfectly, exactly what's in time because I'd include all the measures because it'd be a lot of repeats. But there are some key centers here that you can use as well. When it goes to G minor, you can use G harmonic minor. When it goes to C minor, C harmonic minor. When it goes to B flat major, towards the end, you could use B flat major. Also over the G minor and C minor, you can use minor pentatonic scales, so on and so forth. I just gave you some options here of just harmony, some notes to play. This isn't the point of this video. I just wanted to give you these as a reference if you weren't sure. Now, back up to what we're actually going to be doing. Back here on the second page, I gave you space here if you wanted to print this out and handwrite it, or you can go onto a music notation software like Sibelius or something, and you could write it out. But the goal here is this, and this is the most important part of this video. You're going to be writing your own melody, not solo. Okay, so it's your own new composition over this song. One of the reasons why I played the original melody first is because I want you to hear what that melody sounds like and what kind of creates a melody. Is it motifs? Things repeat? Oftentimes that's the case in melodies. Now, you can have melody that doesn't repeat, but traditionally, especially in classic jazz standards like this, you have motifs that repeat. When you write your own melody, I want you to think of those melodic elements. Think of all the melodies you've listened to, which is also why I always talk about reference audios. A couple videos back, I talked about using reference audios to really kind of inform your playing. So when you're actually improvising, you're playing new songs, you're not just kind of randomly playing things and hoping it works. You say, oh, I remember this song in this style, or I remember someone playing a solo in this style. I'm going to use some elements of it. That's what you're going to do here, but it's going to be melodic. You're going to think about what makes a great lyrical melody. Now, you might want one that's more note-based, like a lot of like chromaticism or bebop. Cool, that's you. You might want one that's more lyrical and thinking of somebody singing it with held out notes and longer phrases. That's great. The thing here is it's your composition, so you can do whatever you want. You're going to write out an entire melody. 16 bars. Yes, there's a first and second ending here, but it's basically the same thing for the first and second ending, the chords. When you write out your melody, you can use the pause button, and that's the important part. You can play through it, and you can basically transcribe yourself if you want, or you can write it out by hand, play it. What do you like? Where should it go? Try different things along the way. And the great thing is with the pause button, you don't have to just say, oh, I missed it, I'll get it next chorus. No. You can say, where do I want it to go from here? I play through it. I'm hearing it actually going higher. Let me try some higher notes. I'm actually hearing a rest here. I'm hearing some syncopation. Your mileage may vary, whatever you want. But the first step is you write your own melody. I did that up here. So I wrote this melody. I tried to make it, somewhat interesting, but also have some elements of repetition. And I'll talk about those in a second. But what I'm going to do now is play this exact melody, how I wrote it here, and then I'm going to talk about it. Check it out. All right, so when you were listening to that melody, could you hear the original Summertime melody? The answer might be yes, it might be no, it might be maybe. What I tried to do was land on really strong chord tones. So I start on the third of G minor here. I start on the third here. All right, I start on the root here up to the third. Here it's the 5 to the 3. Here it's the third, But even rhythmically, D, do, da, 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 da. And then look at the third line. Do, do, da, da, da. Da da da, and then look at the third measure, bo ba bo do da da, and then down here, bo ba bo do da da da, and then I played a line going down. I had to change this last note here to fit this chord, this note to fit that chord. So I tried to use some motifs that called back. I tried to use some syncopation here in the second line. You see all those eighth rests on downbeats to kind of break up that really heavy downbeat thing. You can like this melody, you can hate this melody, but the goal is you're using your own references to create the melody that you want to hear. And if you've never composed a new song before, this is a great way to do it because you already have guidelines. You have the chords, you have the style. Sure, you can change the tempo, but this is usually played medium-ish swing, slow, medium swing. You have the key. I like to do it in concert G minor. Some people do it in different keys, up a whole step, whatever. You can really play whatever key you want, but I like G minor. But you have these parameters, and that can guide your composition, just like it will guide your improvisation, because certain chords are going to sound a certain way when you play certain notes over them. So trial and error is a great thing here. You could try different things with the pause button without having to say, well, I'll catch it next chorus, I'll catch it next chorus, so on and so forth. So the next and final step is you're going to embellish your own melody. And this is really the secret to this whole thing. Going back, when you learn the original melody, some people say when you go from that to improvise, start playing scale, start doing this, start creating stuff. Okay, that's hard in the moment. All right. Or they say, embellish the original melody, which is actually a really great way to learn songs. But if you're always embellishing the original melody, there's always going to be hints of that melody, which is not a bad thing, but you're never going to really get away from it if you're always thinking of that melody. But if you compose your own melody over the song, and then you start by embellishing that melody, you're now a couple of degrees of separation away from the original melody. So you're not even really going to hear that you're embellishing a melody because you're embellishing a melody that you composed. And remember, composition is improvisation. It's almost like you improvised with the pause button, then you improvised on that in real time to actually create a solo. So what I'm going to do to actually literally demonstrate that right now is I'm going to play a solo, but I'm going to be watching my melody. You're going to see me reading it, and I'm going to try to incorporate elements of this melody into my solo. What am I going to change? Well, rhythm is a great one. I can use all the same notes in the same order, but change some rhythms. I can add some notes in between. I can add some passing tones, some chromaticism, some enclosures. I can omit some notes and skip some. I can displace where I play the notes. So that's rhythm once again. I can add some color tones and some altered notes, whatever, but I'm still following this as the same structure and the same roadmap. You're going to hear me go into the altissimo a little bit. I'm still following the same notes, but I decided to jump up an octave or jump down an octave. If you watch this melody, I'm going to put this melody on the screen again so you can watch it go by as I'm soloing. You're going to hear that, yes, I'm following this, but I also want you, and maybe you have to listen to this part twice, I want you to listen for this as it compares to the original melody. Does it sound like I'm playing the melody of Summertime, or does it sound like I'm just improvising over Summertime? You be the judge. Here we go. All right, what'd you think? I hope you try doing this process. It's an incredibly powerful way to work on improvisation, writing your own new melody, which is improvising with a pause button, and then embellishing that melody, which is composing in real time, to create your own solos over songs that always have melodic content because it's always calling back to something previous. Your solo calls back to your melody that you wrote, which called back to the original melody, and because it all calls back to the original melody, it's always going to work every single time. If you've made it this far in the video, first of all, thank you so much for watching and thanks for your support. This concept I'm actually including in my new course called Intro to Improv. It's a complete beginner's improvisation online course. that I'm going to be releasing very soon here at the end of 2025 as I'm filming this. So definitely stay tuned for that. I include this little part as well as a whole bunch of other stuff that really gets down to the nitty-gritty of the beginner stages of improvisation. Does it go through Coltrane changes in 12 keys at 400 BPM? Absolutely not. But it covers the main topics that I've heard all of you tell me are super important to you as a beginning improviser. One of the biggest ones being rhythms. How do I actually stay in the groove? How do I work on that? I go over that in this course, and it's something that a lot of people don't actually talk about online. Honestly, myself included, because it's kind of tough to do, but in the course, I found a great way to teach rhythm and how to get into the pocket and then start improvising right away. Don't forget to grab the PDF worksheets that go along with this video completely free by going to davepollack.com/pause button. I'll also put that link once again at the top of the description down below and in the pinned comment. If you are a beginning improviser and you're struggling with something or you're hitting a roadblock and you just don't know how to get past it and you want to see me make a video teaching you how to do it, please let me know in the comments down below. My goal is to make videos that teach things that you need to learn or you want to learn. And if you tell me what you want to learn and other people also want to learn that, I'll absolutely make a video on it. Thanks so much once again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.